when you think about the last few decades, we see that there's a decline in Americans, religious participation and identification with a religious group, or even, perhaps spiritual practice in general. More religion, I would say. Do you feel that contributes to some of these problems we're seeing now about a lack of love? And
my favorite paradox is that God is essential and non-existent at the same time. That we need it. We need a sense of God the same way we need the gleam in the eye of a mother who is going to love you and discipline you and care about you and give you a reason for being and look you in the eye and see you. If you don't have that, you're somebody who feeds you and takes care of you, you're going to lose your soul. You're going to go through the motions of living, but you're not going to feel like a person. And I think our species sort of needs that too. The sense that there's something greater than ourselves. There's some reason to be a good person.
Yeah.
But we can't see it the same way you can see your mother.
Right.
And so we try to picture it, but we picture our own projections of it, and it's real, but it's not real. But we need it. I don't think we could do without it.
I think, I think we have innate spiritual faculties within us, and I think that, I think that it's central, before we can answer some of the other questions, that we have a sense of what that personal spirituality is. I think about the sort of the 8 dimensions of wellness. This was always something that was in my mental health advocacy, and so you have like emotional, spiritual, financial, environmental, social, etc. What I believe at this point is that spiritual has to be at the center and the rest orbit around it.
Can you define spiritual?
Well, everybody can come up with a different definition.
Everybody uses the word, and
right.
I don't have a sense that I know what it means.
Well, we have to have some sort of consensus about, I think it's about the idea of submitting to something greater than ourselves. I don't think that, it can be combined with religion or be separate from religion. I think that, I think religion can be very valuable, certainly something I practice in my life, but we also can't have religion without spirituality. There has to be an energetic element to faith. Otherwise, we're just left with just rules. We can't do grace, we can't do love unless there's some deeper energetic connection behind this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we have basically the following. We have, and there's a book, Philip Gorski wrote The American Covenant, and the idea is that, like, America, a little off topic here, but it all connects. The idea that America was founded on a tradition of civic religion, right? So it's always been imbued into our principles as a nation. It's something that we work towards. But the extremes, we have religious nationalism on one end, right? And we have radical secularism on the other end. I don't think either should be, are appropriate for the direction we need to go in a tolerance and free and pluralistic society. But we do need to have some sense of civic religion to move the society forward. And so what I feel is that to try to accommodate everyone, we've moved, because we don't want, speaking of like various social services, public health, mental health type industries, we don't want to do religious nationalism. We're so scared of doing that we've actually veered towards radical secularism, despite the fact that this is essential to our humanity. And we are bringing children up in our systems and trying to do systemic change without any aspect of spirituality. Because we want to be on, we're so concerned about one extreme that we'll go to another extreme. We have to get back to doing this. I find that when I talk to people about it, they don't think it's as controversial. It's just, again, try saying it in a large organizational setting. It requires a lot of courage. But if we're not making this back to the central way in which we look at these questions, then we're going to continue to see people suffer in the way we're seeing now. And so we can't have a society where we have large groups of people coming of age without being exposed and experiencing these types of things and having the space to ask these questions. So to me, it's not even necessarily about coming up with a strict definition, although I think that's got to be part of the exploration, but it's really about examining and exploring spirituality and making that a central question that people come of age doing, and getting back to certain rites of passage. As a result of the social experiment of the last 60 years, as I call it, we have a lot of people that just have not engaged in certain rites of passage. They've never been to a wedding. They've never been to a funeral. They've never been to a communion or a bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
And so especially, I've seen this in my mentoring work with young people who, come from very challenging family situations. It's all the things that have been missed.